Okay guys, good morning, welcome back to TaylorMade TV. Thanks for joining the average golfer. Bit of a sunny backdrop, not one you'd expect to see me in the late November. I'm over in Monterey Resort in Portugal. Absolutely fantastic resort this is, by the way, and fantastic golf course. It is absolutely superb. I've got plenty of videos coming to you in the next few weeks. May have already posted some of those actually, so I hope you enjoyed your look around there. Anyway, this morning's video, it's all about combo irons, and you know I've mentioned in the past that I'm very much interested in blending two clubs together, so from the sort of player's iron, and in this case let's start off with the P770 from TaylorMade. Big thank you as well to TaylorMade because they've provided a full set to allow this video to be made, and done a bit of work in getting this set right for me as well, but we'll get to that in a second or two. Blending the two sets isn't easy because what you'll often find is that the other club that I have is a P790, and the typical difference between a player's iron and perhaps this, I don't know whether you class as a game improvement iron, but there's often a big difference in the strength of the lofts. So the changeover between perhaps 6 or 7 iron, depending on obviously where you make your move from one set to another, is obviously going to be very difficult to get the lofts correct. But what you can do is in the forge set, you can request that manufacturers make a difference and strengthen those lofts in the forged irons. So what I've done in this case, I've got 4, 5, 6 iron in the P790s, and then I've gone 7 iron to pitching wedge in the P770s. And like I said, what I'm going to throw up now, these are the lofts throughout the set, and you can see how the gap has been bridged from the standard loft on the P770s, and how they've strengthened them a little just to make that blend happen. Now then, what you're going to see me do now, I'm going to hit some balls on the range. I've been playing with these clubs for the past 2 days, so you'll see a few shots from the range and a few shots from out there on the course. So it's been really interesting to do some real on-course testing and see how this sort of works out there in real conditions. What I've noticed is this, the worry for me was that although the lofts would be strengthened, the ball flights might differ. And I can honestly say visually, and we're going to back this up with some dry ball data when I get back to the UK, but visually they seem to be doing what they should be doing. Ball flight is very, very similar, and the gap between the 6 and the 7 looks absolutely spot on. So I'm really impressed at this stage. A few more shots from on the course, have a look at those, and then what we'll talk about is I'll see you back in the UK with a freezing, I'll be in a bay in Fort Golf Chester, be a little bit colder, but we'll get some dry ball data and we'll just see if the numbers can back up that you can make this combination set work. So see you in the UK. Okay then, so welcome back to TaylorMade TV, back in the UK in Fort Golf, and to be fair, weather's not too bad actually. I'll take this. It's fairly mild for this time of year. Not quite as nice as Portugal, however. Anyway, so no real intro on this one. Let's get straight stuck in. So I'm going to start in some 7 irons, 6 irons, and possibly a few 8 irons as well. And let's just see in data if it backs up what I've seen out there on the course. Okay, so that's it, golf balls hit out on the course. Now some dry ball data. I'm gonna have a look at the numbers pretty much straight away, I think, and no messing with this one. It's a case of I've got my opinions from out on the course, which I'll tell you very, very shortly, and now I've got some dry ball data to back it up. We've literally gone straight into this. I went from 7-iron to 6-iron, and then I thought I'd pick up 8-iron as well and see where we're at. And I think you've got to bear in mind, I am only the average golfer, so strike is never going to be identical for each one of these shots. But for me, it gave a fair reflection of their performance and what I'd expect out on the course. So I'm never going to be dialed into it in every 7-iron, 170 yards on the dot. There's going to be some variation, but I've left those numbers as they are. So here they are right now for you. So 7-iron, I would suggest just maybe pause this screen and you have a look through these numbers and study these at your own time. But if we look at, first of all, launch angle of around 20 to 21 degrees, club head speed remained fairly consistent. I dropped off one on the third shot, and the carry distance was 164 to 171. Now I'd say again, just some feedback on the strike and how I performed with those 3 shots. I would suggest that first one was very, very good, and it actually carried that a little bit further. The spin number again, I'm always arguably quite low with spin, but I would suggest this club, 7-iron for me, in and around sort of late 160s into early 170s is the kind of ballpark figure that I'd expect to hit. I'd back that up by saying that's the kind of number I was using it out on the course, and that's the kind of performance I was getting from it. So in and around that number, I'd be more than happy. But then it's a switch over. This is the important thing for me. It's not only how it changes in terms of distance, in terms of carry, but also in terms of ball flight, launch angle. There's a lot of things that I would be looking at there. Carrying out again, back up now, 174, longest carry 179. Now once again, if I was looking at the club and how it performed out in the course and in these numbers here, the 6-iron bridged that gap really, really well. Once again, late 170s into the early 180s for 6-iron. I would suggest again, from what I hit out in the course, that would be exactly right. And I'm glad to see that backed up. But what I also enjoyed was to see, like I said, the ball flight and launch angle being very, very similar. So it's not as if you are seeing that big gap in one launching quite low and then all of a sudden one popping up quite high. There was exactly as you'd expect to see from a set of irons that ran straight through in the same in exactly the same model. So really, really good in the way that, I mean, obviously TaylorMade know what they're doing, but it's really good to see that just cranking these lofts in the 7-iron bridged the gap. And I went into 8-iron as well just to see if that carried through, and once again 155 to 163 in the 8-iron there. Launch again went up to, what was it, 22 up to 24.3, and again I'm going to put those numbers away for a second, all consistent in what I would expect from out on the course. And that was the beauty of the test for me, the fact that yes, it was nice to see some dry ball data back up really what I found out on the course, because I took the clubs out, literally unwrapped them pretty much on the driving range on the first morning of this test, and I played out on the course for 2 days with them. And I got on with them really, really well right from the word go. And you probably watch the reviews or watch the course vlogs from Monterey, and I'll back that up because played fairly well with them, especially seeing as, like I said, I'd never hit the clubs until that morning. One thing, dynamic gold S300 shaft in these clubs is what I was using, just out of interest. And again, obviously that was the same throughout the set. But I wasn't skeptical, but I probably was skeptical whether or not the gap with the 2 set of irons, the bridging of the gap, whether or not they could perform as they should do. And I have to say 100% without any doubt whatsoever, this worked for me. And I can't see why it wouldn't work for you. The beauty of what it did was that it allowed me to maintain my love for forged clubs, and obviously these aren't my clubs, these are on loan at the moment, but I would certainly consider these as being a viable option. Forged throughout, and it was great that again just that noticeable from the 6 down to the 7-iron wasn't huge. I would say the P770 is a slightly softer feel, but there isn't a massive leap to a game improvement iron feel, a cast club. It was nice to be able to see that right throughout the set, and getting a bit of help in those longer irons, because again, although we didn't test it, I played 4-iron on a couple of occasions out on the course, and honestly it's a great set of clubs, the P770s, to have in the longer irons. There's lots of assistance, so it's a great option, and could well be the one that I go for in the end and ends up in my bag. Anyway, that's how to build a set of combo irons at TaylorMade. Well done. If you're interested in this kind of thing, the one debate that we've had is how you would go about getting a set of combo irons built for you and to be able to try and test them before you made that decision. The best way I can suggest is that when the TaylorMade demo days are at driving ranges and golf clubs near you, that's when you'll get access to a wider range of the irons. Because obviously, if you go into most testing bays, it will only be a 7 iron that you ever get to hit. But go to a TaylorMade demo day if this is something that might be of interest to you, and that way you too can get on trying out the 765 and whatever, and see how you feel about possibly going down this route. But really interesting video for me personally. I hope you enjoyed it too. As ever, comments down below. Could be an interesting one, this, in terms of debate, so stick your comments down below, and I will, as ever, do my best to reply. But thanks for watching as ever. Thumbs up as well, that's another thing we always have to ask for. And thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.